Welcome, yeah! Today, I'll show you how to use or omit player hands in the high school DxD Chess Wars Deck Builder, version 2.6. I also added new scoreboard counters for the table extensions on the east and west side of the Kraken table. If you're feeling lost, please watch the playlist for this series so you can start at the beginning.
This is my high school DxD Chess Wars Deck Builder mod on Tabletop Simulator with the Steam engine. And today I have modified it to version 2.6, where we have these floating hands for different players in the center of the table. And when I got this table originally, there was 10 different colors around the table here. But I was very irritated by that layout because cards will just get sucked into these hands and then it will change the rotation. Like if I wanted it here and it gets sucked into this hand, it's like, now it's in the wrong direction. Now I have to come bring it out over here and bring it back. And it's just kind of annoying, I found. But I didn't know that the gizmo tool can move and resize these. So you can use them, I think, on any script zones or hands with this transform tool. Or if you don't like the hands at all, like I was very annoyed with them in the beginning. So you can come here, you can click this hands button, you can highlight over it, and then you press delete on your keyboard, and it will go away. Also, I am white, so any hand that I draw now is going to be white. So this white is different than the ones we were looking at before. Script zones are not the same, just because my color is white. So if I come here, and I can click it, then I can give it Game Master, or I give it another color. So we're not using brown. If I change it to brown, then when I deal to a certain player, I can identify, okay, we're going to deal to the player that is brown. Or if I don't want it, I just highlight over it so it's selected and delete it. But you do have to have the zone hands selected to get that functionality. So in the beginning, I just created purple and green, and I put them off the table so they don't interrupt my mod. They're not in the way. Now when you go back to grab, the table looks normal, and you can just see these floating things on the sides. That's what we had before. But now I'm kind of liking to be able to have these. This is 7 cards wide. So if I wanted more than 7 cards, then it kind of becomes a problem and you have to fight with the hot points that are going to suck the cards down onto the table. And be like, no, I want you to be in the middle of where the spot is. So creating the hands is solving this problem for me. But what I need to do is become different color. Now I click the black dot. I'm choosing the color on the table. This is what the game asks you to do when you join. Don't think that you get this choice unless you are the host. But now I can see all of these cards that are in red player's hand, yellow player's hand, and blue player's hand. And for working with the mod, I find that it's nice because now I can have more than just 7 cards wide when I'm making a deck or looking at different cards and comparing them, or if I wanted to make a recolor from one of the other cards, we can have them next to each other, and it's responsive, and that's the nice thing about the Tabletop Simulator hands. Before, when I was learning it, I was like, what are these? Let's get rid of them completely. So maybe not the best call, but this is nice if you wanted to play Uno, just Uno with my Uno cards. It would be really nice to play with 2 players and a dummy hand, or just with 3 players, and then you put your cards down when they are done, when you can't play off of them anymore. So it takes some getting used to, but if you do want to play with this in this mod, I suggest becoming the black or the game master. And then if you have this gray is different. You can see any hands if you're gray because you're spectating. And that's different from if you're black, then you can see everything. You can see what anybody has in their hand. Another new thing that I added was counters for these table extenders. So when you turn the card over, you can see the point value, but this scoreboard will calculate anything that's laid here for points. And then you can bring it outside of that zone, and it will not be counted. See, this is still kind of touching that zone here, but here it is being removed. And if it's flipped over, it's not being counted as a point. So this counter comes for this side, and this counter works for that side.
Thanks for watching, yeah? Stay tuned if you want to learn more about Chess Wars and the Mobage card deck builder mod. Bye for now!